Chapter 49, Oliver. Sunday lunch at the Kingston's house is always crowded, but today feels as hectic as the holidays. All of Lynn's aunts and uncles were in town for homecoming, as well as her cousins. Sarah, Carter, and Andrew were invited to eat with us after services and were highly encouraged by Mama Kingston to join us. Not to mention, most of Lynn's brothers had a friend or two with them. Thankfully, Lynn talked her mom into letting the teenagers take their food and eat in the guest house instead of trying to cram everyone into the overfull dining room and kitchen. Sorry about the chaos, Lynn sits down. Is it always like this? Carter asks. Yes and no, Tristan says. Usually all of Lynn's aunts and uncles aren't here, so it's not always as bad as this. Yeah, and that means all the rugrats aren't here either, Jet adds. On the upside, Mama Kingston lets us eat out here, which she normally wouldn't be allowed. Daniel elbows Jet. Dude, will somebody bless the food already? I'm starving. Colton rolls his eyes. Xander blesses the food and we all dig in. Talk mostly revolves around Friday night's game. Daniel didn't tell the rest of us anything other than Lynn didn't want to talk about the dance or Mark. I planned on calling her out on it because if she was fine, she wouldn't care if we talked about the dance. But with Callie and Colton and all of their friends here, plus Sarah, Carter, and Andrew, now isn't the time to bring it up. Your mom's a good cook, Colton, Sarah says. Colton answers with his mouth full of food. Callie smacks him on the back of the head. She's complimenting your mom's cooking, idiot, Callie says. But that doesn't mean anyone wants to see it in your mouth. Chew, swallow, then try to talk. Did I offend your delicate sensibilities? Colton shoves Callie. I'll show you delicate sensibilities. Callie pushes Colton out of his chair and onto the ground where the two of them begin to wrestle. Lynn lets them go for a few minutes before squirting them with a water gun I didn't even know she had. Hey, dipsticks, stop fighting and eat your food. Lynn sprays them again. Colton and Callie finally break apart and scuff each other's hair before joining everyone else back at the table. Thank you, Sarah, for the compliment. I'll be sure to pass it on to my mom. Is there a certain time you need to be home by today? Lynn acts like she didn't just break up a fist fight with a water gun. Sarah looks like she's still recovering from Colton and Callie's brief scuffle. I guess that sort of thing doesn't happen at her house. I have band practice at 3 at my neighbor's house, so sometime before then. Oh, that's right, you're in a garage band with your sister. I can take you home after lunch, or if y'all are still hanging out, I can take you right before your practice. Right before practice works for me. People sometimes watch our practice, if any of y'all want to come. Sarah looks at Callie and Colton and their friends. I'm pretty sure she isn't meaning to extend the invitation to us, but I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to watch Kaylee sing. It's been months since the 4th of July celebration, and I know her somewhat better now. That sounds cool. I'd love to go, I say. Sarah looks surprised as she turns back to our half of the table. She isn't the only one. Oh, okay, great. What about everyone else? Sarah looks back to the other end of the table. Colton and Callie and their friends are headed to the practice field to meet up with some other people to play tag football. Daniel, Jet, Grayson, and Lynn all cry off to do their homework. I'd love to go, Tristan chimes in. I'd rather not have to deal with Princess Merida today. I already received a tongue lashing this morning for getting home so late. Sometimes I swear the perfect little princess forgets she's my neighbor, not my mom. Merida moved in at the beginning of the summer, and to say she and Tristan butt heads would be a massive understatement. He already spent a lot of time with us, but ever since she moved in next door to him, he avoids his house like the plague. Except, of course, when he thinks swing the other extreme and he wants to be home all the time to annoy her. But today his disdain for his neighbor is working in my favor. Hopefully him being with me at band practice will keep it from being too obvious I'm there for Kaylee. Since I know James is going to be there, I'm glad to have a friend there to back me up if I need it. Since y'all are staying for band practice, can you take Sarah home? I'd appreciate being able to get a start on the AP Physics homework right away since it's due tomorrow, Lynn says. Of course, Tristan says. If you want, I can help on the physics homework. Drew already finished it. If you want help on the physics homework, Drew already finished it yesterday. Carter pats Andrew on the back. Oh, sure, if you wouldn't mind. Lynn looks a little uncomfortable. This Mark thing must be messing with her if she's putting homework off until the last minute. I would love to help. Andrew blushes so hard his cheeks are entering fire engine red territory. I don't know if he's embarrassed because he doesn't like being the center of attention or if he has a thing for Lynn. We finish up eating and Callie and Colton immediately leave to go play football. Sarah gets her stuff together, and Carter catches a ride with me to Kaylee's house. Tristan takes his own car because he doesn't want to be in the way if I need alone time with Kaylee after band practice. I think he's being ridiculous, but I know any protest on my part that Kaylee doesn't see me like that will fall on deaf ears. Kaylee's house is only a 5-minute drive away, but it feels longer. Carter and Sarah seem to be interrogating me the whole way there about school, my interests, my taste in music. Sarah starts to ask about my family as I park in front of her house. I'm thankful for the reprieve from questioning and glad I didn't have to answer any questions about my family. My father's a successful accountant and my mother's a high-powered lawyer. I'd rather not talk about them prioritizing work over me. I'm not sure how long it'd take them to notice if Grayson and I didn't come home. But I know from a few times of crashing at Lynn's, it'd take being gone for more than a couple of nights. I shake my head to clear any thoughts of my parents as I get out of the car. I'm going head up to my room to change for practice, Sarah says to Kaylee as they pass each other in the doorway of their house. Sarah stops in her tracks on her porch when she locks eyes with me. What are you doing here? She asks. She's wearing an electric blue fitted tank top, a leather skirt, and combat boots. Something about the skirt makes her legs look like they go on forever. She's even more breathtaking today than she was all dolled up for the dance yesterday. Sarah invited us to come watch band practice, Tristan says, before I can get my head together enough to have a reply. I'm glad he saved me from making a fool of myself, as I can't seem to take my eyes off of Kaylee. Oh, okay, cool. Kaylee starts walking. Let's go ahead and head next door. Sarah can catch up when she's ready. I'll wait and walk over with her. Carter sits on the porch. We follow Kaylee through the gate that leads into the backyard of the neighboring house and over to what looks like a giant shed. When she opens the door, I'm surprised at what I find. It looks like a small recording studio with a sound booth and a rehearsal space. I sort of assumed they practiced in a garage or something. I was not expecting this. I get so distracted looking at the space, I don't notice what, or more accurately, who is in the middle of the space. James is standing there with some girl wrapped around him, and they're in the middle of what appears to be an intense makeout session, and they don't even notice when we walk in. James is a real piece of work. I can't believe he gave Kaylee crap about going to a dance with someone when he went and is now making out with some other girl the next day. Hey, Jackwagon, it's time for practice. Stop sucking face with your groupie so we can get started. A guy, who I assume is Connor, says from behind us. James and the girl separate at Connor's words. I recognize the girl as Nicole from the dance team. She's tall and curvy. She's got brown hair, which is messed up right now, brown eyes, and chocolate brown skin. She's wearing a tube top and one of the shortest skirts I've ever seen. She has stilettos on, which seem a bit full on if she's here to listen to the band play. Nicole is pretty mainstream, and she stays within the status quo. Basically, I'm not sure she could be further from Kaylee in every aspect. If I had to guess, that'd be James's point. I'm starting to think that coming to band practice was a bad idea.